All I gotta say, Walter M.F. Clayton Jr., he is that dude, bro. He absolutely snapped in this game, bro. 5 for 8 from three. Twin was cooking, bro. And he is a large reason why, among other things for Florida, why they won this basketball game, man. I mean, what a contest between two elite teams, right? Two-time defending champs. They get them boys a dogfight. But it's going to make Florida better for it down the line, and I think they're going to be ready definitely to end up winning a national championship. That was a hell of a game, and he deserves a lot of. I mean, bro, like I said, he went off for a team high 23 points, 6 of 14 from the field. But what I liked most is that he was patient, right? The shot wasn't falling, man. Like I said, they were struggling mightily, just couldn't get it quite going offensively. But he continued to put pressure on the defense, right? He was struggling early on. I think he was 2 for 8 at one point in the game, but continued to attack and got into a rhythm. And I mean, them shots, y'all, were tough. You know what I'm saying? Step back shots to the right side of the court, knocking them down with ease, man. He looked phenomenal out there. He deserves the game ball. He played like a first-team All-American in this game. I also got to shout out Elijah Martin as well, man. In this game, he continued to push the tempo. He continued to put the pressure on the UConn defense. And he was basically one of their main scorers, especially in the first half, man. Without his play, right, this game really should have been UConn up 6, UConn up 7, UConn up 8, even double digits after the first half. But his continued pressure and his efficient shooting, 7 of 12, 2 of 4 from the field, he was phenomenal. And also shout out to Richard as well with his 15 points. But, yo, I got to give Coach Dan Hurley and I got to give UConn credit, man. This really was their game to win, bro. They got so close. I thought first half, like, when we look at DR and we look at what they were able to do, right? Again, they didn't shoot the ball well, right? 37.5, but where they really ate was the free throw line. 19 for 22, 86% from the charity stripe. That's how you get it done, right? They were consistently putting pressure on them as well. And then in the first half, 9 offensive rebounds, another telltale stat that's not going to show up here that you guys can see, but when I watched the game, was very important for them as well. And I love the way they shared the basketball. 16 assists in this game. That was phenomenal. And they continue to put pressure. Even though they have elite guards, they made it tough for them. Their ball pressure and deniability allowed for them to get 8 steals that led to easy transition buckets. And they also won the points in the paint by 8, 32-24. That was crucial in this game. Now, look, Liam McNeely, he had a great game, 22 points. I'm not going to lie. What won this game was towards the end of the second half. 14-5 run. UConn could not buy a bucket. They struggled mightily. They could not get to the rim. Credit Florida and their defensive pressure. They made it very tough for them to get any clean looks. But if you lie in McNeely, Florida missed 3 different times in those possessions. On 2 of them, not all of them, but on 2 of the 3 possessions, he missed rebounds that hit his hands clearly. You got to grab those boards. Only 2 in this game. But he did good driving to the paint. He did good hitting his jump shots. Besides three-point range, he struggled there shooting 22%. But if you're Liam McNeely, he's young. I know he's a freshman. You got to grab those boards, man. That is the difference in this game and them winning and potentially pulling off a huge upset against one of the best teams in the country. That hurt them late in that game. If they could have got those boards, got on in transition, that would have been a big difference. But again, I want to shout out DR. It's not going to show up here in the stat line, 6, 5, and 4, but he was crucial in this game. He continued to put pressure on the defense. He was hitting some big shots early in the first half. He played really well in this one, and the rhythm that they had and the way they was moving, the screening actions, how they was dumping the ball off to the big man, getting Caravan involved as well, who dropped 14 points in this game. I thought he did a really, really, really good job there, and he deserves a lot of credit for what he was able to do in this one. Again, doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but his pressure early on in the game made it tough for a lot of Florida guards to get a rhythm and get going. But again, man, look, this was an elite contest, right? I don't care what anybody says. You talk about Dan Hurley, you talk about, obviously, the Florida head coach, Ty Golden. Like, this was an elite game, and it sucks that it was a round of 32. Imagine Sweet 16, and this is why I woke up this morning early. I know it was at 12, but it's why I woke up and I wanted to see this whole game. Because you look at the rest of them, like you got Colorado State and Maryland. You know what I'm saying? You got obviously Duke and Baylor. Like, they're decent games, but it was not going to live up to the bill in this one. Now, I'll tell y'all this: every analyst, probably like 80-90%, thought that Florida was going to run them boys out the gym. And they did not. They had to survive this game. That speaks to the coaching prowess of a Dan Hurley. That speaks to how elite of a coach he is, how great of a team this was connected. And think about it. They did not have the stars that they had in years past, right? No disrespect. Like, they always had a star big man. Their big man was decent in this game, and they did put a lot of pressure on Florida and made it tough for them. But they did not have an elite, type caliber player in terms of their big man, that they've had in years past, or an elite freshman, that was just next level. Right now, Liam McNeely is good. That's not what I'm saying. He could be potentially a top 15 pick. I'm talking about like a top 2, top 3 pick in the NBA draft. Like when you think, oh, UConn, they got Stephon Castle, or they got this guy on the inside. They had a decent team this year. They went through their lumps. I credit them. I'm not discrediting these guys. All these guys can play. But I'm saying UConn did not have that star power that they've had in years past. Y'all can crucify me in the comments. I'm just keeping it a buck. I thought this was one of the more fine coaching jobs for Dan Hurley. And as he's mentioned, over 50% of his rosters potentially is going to leave. So the fact that he got them boys to play and challenge Florida, probably one of their toughest challenges all season long. Team that was putting up numbers on Tennessee, blowing them out of games, blowing out Alabama, who's also a title contender. The fact that they took them all the way to this part says a lot about the UConn Huskies, man. And I think they will be back. They did not get embarrassed. In my opinion, they put them boys on the brink. It took for Walt M.F. Clayton Jr., it took for Elijah Martin, Condon, and them boys to step up big late in order for them to win this game. So shout out to Dan Hurley, man, and that staff for being able to put Florida on the brink. My last comment, man, chomp chomp. I think the Gators are going to get better after this game. Their coach, Todd Golden's going to have a lot to go say after. And he's going to be able to point out a lot of different things he didn't do well in this game. Their defense, the confusion on some of them screening roles, different things like that they struggle with. The shooting. He's going to be able to peel this game and figure out some things he can work on. But he's going to be very pleased with his defensive pressure late in that game and how they were able to clean the offensive glass and also force turnovers that led to easy buckets. That really helped them win this game. But I think this is going to make Florida stronger. They're going to be better. And you're going to see, I think they can definitely make a run. Only team I see that can really beat them is Duke. That is it. You know what I'm saying? Besides Duke, they have this in the bag. This was the toughest matchup, toughest test so far, and I think they're going to be better for it, man. But comment below, what's your thoughts on Florida surviving this upset bid?